Good day all and welcome to this Spotlight Guide. Here we're going to be talking about various different things, but today's topic is going to be the Rumble Creator Program. So let's get stuck into it and see what's going on. The all new Rumble Creator Program, what it means to you, what you need to be aware of, and of course how to connect to the Rumble Studio. So I just wanted to do a quick video to take everyone through the requirements for the new Rumble Creator Program. And not just that, the main purpose of today's video is also to show you how to connect to Rumble Studio using third-party tools, third-party software, so things like OBS, Streamlabs, Prism, Xsplit, Evmux, all of those different programs in order to send your video from that third party into Rumble Studio, because you might be like me where you're not actually using Rumble Studio at all. So what we're going to do is we're going to bounce through some of the points that we found during this creator program, requirements for enrollment. So eligibility begins February the 4th. A couple of days ago it began, and the program will kick off properly on March the 1st, 2025. In order to enroll, you must meet the following criteria. Creators must have at least 100 followers. Now, this was the important thing. Now, when I looked at my channel, 76 followers as a user. So underneath the eligibility, because there's only 76 followers, technically that's not eligible. However, when you bounce into your channels, this is where they said you can have either channels or your user, and my live channel, which is predominantly what I use over on Rumble, is eligible for the Creator Program. Creators must have streamed at least 30 hours via the Rumble Studio in the last 30 consecutive days prior to their enrollment date via the Rumble Studio. When I first read this, I had a knee-jerk reaction in, well, if I use OBS for all my streaming and my gaming, and I multi-stream through OBS to Rumble directly, YouTube, Kick, Twitch, Twitter, then the chances of me ever using the Rumble Studio are going to be slim to nil. Shout out to my fellow creator and good friend, the Common Nerd. He actually turned around and said, yeah, I just streamed to Rumble Studio and then let it do its business. And I thought straight away, I need to figure out what's going on here. Creator must have an active Rumble Premium account. Premium, you've got to have a subscription. So you get the break from ads, fine. Exclusive premium content, verified badge. So there is a cost associated. Currently, the cost is $9.99 a month or $99 for a year, which saves you 2 months worth of the actual subscription. Normally, live streaming, I'm coming into this screen, select which one that you want to use. Your templates are limited. We select the usual good stuff. Now let's just update this. February gaming. We're not going to actually do too much with this, but it's most for an example, and I'm just going to set it for 10 p.m. GMT. So normally when you get to this next screen, it's at this point in time you get this streamer configuration, and this is where you're going to list your server URL. Now, what you put into OBS or your stream key into OBS or third-party tools, unless you're using the static stream keys. So when you look at the static stream keys, you've got the standard URL for Rumble, and then you've got your various different stream keys, which you'll then use in your third-party software. Now, the difference is when it comes to Rumble Studio. So we're going to jump into Rumble Studio. I'm going to schedule a stream. Now, the good thing with scheduling a stream in Rumble Studio, it takes into consideration all of the videos that you've ever put into Rumble, which is great because that brings parity with YouTube. YouTube has this function. I can just go back and, do you know what? I'm going to do a Marvel Rivals. I'm not going to be worrying about destinations. So the purpose of this video is just to get data into Rumble Studio. If you want to add destinations, by all means, you can add your various different other destinations. You've got YouTube, Twitch, X, or your custom. But for now, I'm just going to be worrying about Marvel Rivals gaming. You do all the usual stuff that you would do. Select your time, 5 o'clock this afternoon. Once you've got it scheduled, what you want to do is you want to enter the studio. Down to the bottom where you've got the Manage Participants. Click the Manage Participants and then see Ingresses. And in this case, we want to create a new ingress. We're going to bounce in. Now, if you've got WIP available via your third-party tool. Select whip, it's a better standard. And let's say I'm just going to give it OBS. Don't need to call it anything special. At this point, you've got your stream key and your URL for the Rumble Studio. This is what we then use in our third-party software. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up Prism. Top left-hand corner, you've got the custom RTMP, which I've already connected. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to disconnect that, get rid of it. And at the top, when you first come into Prism, you'll have a list of the various different places you can send your data to. For us, what we're going to do is we're going to select custom RTMP. When we come onto this next screen, it's going to ask me user input RTMP. So we're going to go back to Rumble Studio, RTMP, and we are going to go back to Prism. And first, I've got my URL there. Next, I'm going to go back, copy my key. Let's go back into here because I closed the window. Copy the stream key back to Prism. Stream key is in custom RMTP. Now I'm going to say that this is Rumble Studio. I'm not going to worry about calling it anything else. Hit save. And now we're in the position where we can actually start going live. I'm going to hit the go live right now. You can see that it's now connected. And I can also hear myself in the background. You can see down the bottom left that I am here. If I go into presentation, you'll see me. I'm now streaming from OBS directly into the browser window. So I'm just going to remove the echo from the recording. So now that I've gone live, you can actually see that the button down here and the time, Rumble Studio, select the presentation. And now I'm at the stage where I want to go live. And if I want to, I can hit the go live now. Whatever I've got in OBS, whatever I've got in Prism, go live, select your go live. And once you're live, that's it. You're in a position where your data's being sent. Now, when you want to wrap up for the day, you have to go into Rumble Studio to actually close out the session. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit go live on this, and I'll show you what I mean by it. A lot of people when they're on this screen, will be hearing themselves twice, like I am doing right now. I've cut it out of your audio, so you can't hear it, but I can hear myself twice because I can hear what's going on in Rumble Studio. So now I'm live in Rumble Studio. Stuff is happening. People technically could come in and see. You can actually close this window altogether. You don't even have to have it open. Rumble Studio will carry on in the background. Prism is still sending data. There is no requirements for you to have the studio open in a second window, third window, different PC, whatever it may be. There's no requirements for it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish in Prism. That's all ended, so the data is no longer being sent. And I'm going to go back into Rumble now. I'm going to go back into Rumble Studio, and you'll see that the link is now gone. There's no video being sent, and I'm going to hit end stream, and then wrap up and leave. That basically severs the connection and makes sure that the Rumble video is now stored. Now, the good thing is because you're doing it this way and you're using Rumble Studio, the hours count. So the 30-hour target that you've got to reach, those hours count. So if I went into Rumble right now and started having a look at the new dashboard, the new beta dashboard, when you have a look at the beta dashboard and you start going down, you'll see that the hours streamed from Rumble Studio will increase. Obviously, you need to make sure that you're doing over an hour for an hour to count kind of thing. Now, that's how easy it is to connect Prism to Rumble Studio. And whether you're connecting via Prism, whether you're connecting via XSplit, XSplit's no different. So we're using the free version of XSplit at the minute. We're going to do custom stream and wait for the details to come up. And it's exactly the same thing again, guys. You are going to put in, it's no different from previously. You're going to put in the RTMP details, your server key, your stream key. You don't need to worry about any of the other settings unless you're changing things like the codec. A couple of things to bear in mind with the codecs. Make sure it's H.264 for Rumble, make sure you're at 8 kilobits a second. Keep it that way. Audio, you can actually bump up to 128 bits. You don't have to have less audio. So let's go back into Rumble Studio. Let's create a new scheduled stream. I'm not going to go live this time in Rumble Studio. All I'm going to do is I'm going to connect and show you that the data is actually being sent. So we go back into this screen, go back to presentation, go to manage participants, go to ingresses, new ingress. You can call it what you like. This one, I'm going to call it Xsplit. Create. You'll find it's the same RTMP code. So get the RTMP code, go back over to Xsplit, put your RTMP in, and then go back to Rumble Studio, grab your stream key, back to Xsplit, drop your stream key in. Everything else is okay. Channel name must be specified. Oh yes, so let's say Rumble. So now we are in a position where we can stream, and you can see just up the top where it's got the stream button, I can select custom stream over to Rumble Studio, click it, wait, red button goes on. You are now live streaming to custom stream Rumble Studio. And with all things being equal, when we go back over to Rumble Studio, we can actually see that that ingress is now in place. Now, the one that really does struggle. So let's stop streaming with Xsplit. And what we're going to do, we're going to close Xsplit out. We're going to open up Streamlabs. Now, Streamlabs is a bit of a pain. So what we'll do, we'll go through the process with Streamlabs for how you would expect to connect to it. So down the left-hand side where you've got multi-stream, the first thing you want to do is multi-streaming, go live on the multiple platforms once multi-streaming. Yeah. So stream. I'm going to hit the recommended settings because this is how you normally come into OBS Streamlabs. You've normally got your X, you've got your YouTube, Facebook, Kick, whatever it may be. And down the bottom, we would have the Rumble link. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the Rumble one. Let's update the ingress. And I'm going to create a new ingress this time. RTMP. Let's say this is Streamlabs. Create. Exactly the same thing. Exactly the same deal. Same RTMP code. Let's go to Streamlabs. Paste. Go back, get our stream key, paste, save. Okay, Rumble supposedly is set up for the correct link. We're going to hit done. We're going to go down the bottom right hand corner and we're going to hit go live. This is where it's going to say, where do you want to go live? YouTube, Rumble. Let's go. Working on your live stream. Updated settings for YouTube, configure multi-stream, so on and so forth. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pop into YouTube just to make this video private, which it is, it should be. Let's use the Force Luke. Okay. So what I want to do is now go back over to Rumble Studio. And what you can see is it is saying I am live. It is saying I am live in Streamlabs OBS, but the important thing is nothing's happening currently in Streamlabs OBS. It's just not connecting at all. There's no data being sent. It's not receiving anything. You can go into the multi-stream. You can have a look at the information in the background, but it's as if Rumble Studios is not connected. Now, when you look at the outputs, the outputs are not going to give you much at all with kind of like a clue of why. So we're going to end the stream for a second. We're going to go into our settings. Let's go to our output. So currently streaming, I want to select advanced because we want to have more information. Software, H264. So we're going to change this to be the NVIDIA NVENC H264 if you've got an NVIDIA card, or if you're using an AMD GPU, you'll have the hardware H264. So we're going to use the new one. Constant bitrate. So for YouTube, because it would primarily be YouTube, and I would normally stream at 4K to YouTube, Normally I do 30,000 in terms of bitrate over to YouTube. Leave everything else alone, that's fine. So that's my primary. So when we hit done, I'm going to go back into settings, just make sure that those settings have recorded. Output, NVENC, yeah. Now, technically, for NVIDIA and YouTube, I would be using the AV1 codec, because the AV1 codec is much newer codec and is much more efficient. And YouTube, technically Twitch as well, both have got the AV1 capability, but for now, because Kick and Rumble are still using old stuff, we have to use 264. I'm going to go down to video base canvas, so I'm just going to scale this to the right level. So this is my current one. I'm not going to scale down everything. So what I want to do is everything's going to be the same. Fine. FPS. Now, a lot of times you can bump this up to 60 depending on how many sources you send it out to, and depending on how good your PC is. I generally leave it at 30 frames a second because most people, if they're going to watch this, they'll watch it on their phones, they'll watch it on their TVs. There's really no point going above 30. So just make sure your audio is also correct. I make sure that everything's disabled. So our output. So we've got 264 in 4 streaming service encoder settings. So what I want to do is just hit done on that. And when we're still looking at the streaming and we're still looking at Rumble, the biggest problem is that Rumble can only accept 1080p. So straight away we know Streamlabs is going to struggle sending any data over to Rumble's studio because the bit rate's too high, the resolution's too high. We need to do something different. And this is where this bottom option comes in, stream to custom ingest. It's really, really small, and blink if you miss it. So once you've clicked this, you can now select the details from Rumble again. So we'll go back to Rumble Studio, go back to our ingest. We're going to get the Streamlabs details, come into Streamlabs, and copy that one as well. For the stream key, place our stream key in. Now I need to go into the video because now I need to scale down. It can only accept 1080p. And with our encoding, we've also got to abide by the limitations of the platform. So we're now down to 8,000 on the bit rate. I'm going to hit done on that. I'm going to hit go live. And when we go back to Rumble Studio now, you'll see that Streamlabs is now coming through. It's the only way currently of Streamlabs sending data that I know of, that Streamlabs can send data across the stream to Rumble Studio. It's the only way it works. And it works just like Prism would have done, just like Xsplit, just like OBS. So Streamlabs OBS is the only one that's decent. This is another reason why I don't use Streamlabs OBS myself. I prefer to use OBS because the OBS, I've got the additional functionality within a lot of the plugins that they use, and simply Streamlabs doesn't have the same capability. Now that being said, there's no reason why you couldn't send it in via this method and then send it on to others using the multi-stream features of Rumble Studio. You can connect to the various different sources and send it on. Now, the reason why I don't do that personally, so if I come across and I bring up my OBS, you'll see over on the right hand side, I've got various different windows. So if I go into live gaming for Rumble, you'll see a different layout. If I go into Twitter for live gaming, different layout again, different colors. Color scheme matches the various different applications. Different logos, different layouts altogether. Go to Twitch, same deal, wrong page. Let's go to this one. So Twitch, same deal, different colors. And I think I've probably got another one somewhere. Rumble, Twitter, Kick, Twitch, obviously YouTube. So my YouTube one is normally red. So the one that you're looking now is what I'm using for my spotlight guides. but I've got a red one for YouTube. You get the idea. So I can do that in OBS. I cannot do that in any other pieces of software currently. The capability doesn't exist. Now, if you want information on that one, I'm going to do a guide on setting up Stream Elements live in OBS, and that will give you the ability to send custom overlays, custom scenes to various different applications, so you're not just hamstrung by the main one that OBS is using. Cool. Right, okay, so Streamlabs OBS is the difficult one. You have to use the custom ingress, and once you use the custom ingress, the other thing to be aware of with Streamlabs, when you go into the stream, you cannot add any other connection there. You are limited to a single application. You can't do anything else with it. So if you want to use Streamlabs and you want to use Rumble Studio, by all means go for it. You'll just have to forward any sources on via Rumble Studio, but whatever's on this screen goes across to Rumble Studio. So I'm going to bounce into Evmux. Evmux is a very good application. Definitely use it over StreamYard. Personally, I prefer to use Evmux because it's a lot better of an application. And in the destinations, it is no different from adding a custom RTMP, adding the necessary stream details from your ingresses. So Evmux, I'm just going to use the same ingress that we used for Streamlabs. I'm just going to close Streamlabs, don't need that open. Now I'm going to go back to my Evmux desk. We're going to get the stream key. You can change your resolution here. If you've got the lower tier, some of this won't be available to you, but I pay the basic tier, which is $39. But you get an awful lot for that $39, guys. I'm going to save. There's my custom RTMP. I'm going to go into my dashboard. I'm just going to pop into the studio, open in studio. All right, once you're in the studio, edit destinations. And at this point, I can add my custom destination, which is my new one. Now, the reason why I like Evmux is because Evmux is very much the same as OBS in that you've got your scenes down the left-hand side, and each one of these scenes you can add your browser sources, you can add your video, you can add your alerts, you can have a dynamic grid that responds to how many people are on the screen at any one time. When you're in Evmux, obviously when you hit the go live, at that point in time, it's going to connect to the RTMP. It's then going to show up as a participant. It will pop up on screen. Always make sure you're in presentation straight away before you go live. If you have it in presentation, you don't need to add people to the scene. They're there automatically. And all I would need to do at that stage is go live in Evmux, wait for the video to show in Rumble Studio, then hit the go live in Rumble Studio, at which point I can close Rumble Studio down, carry on my stream in Evmux, OBS, Streamlabs, Xsplit, Prism, and once the stream is complete, stop your stream in the third-party source, bounce back into Rumble Studios, make sure that you're in the stream. Next, we've got Meld Studio. So Meld Studio is another broadcasting software that some people use. So what we're going to do is we're going to bounce into this pretty quickly, get ourselves live, and just show you how this one also connects. So up to File, go over to Preferences, and the first screen you will see is Add Output for Stream Settings. So we're going to select Add Output. You can select natively straight to Twitch. Custom destination is going to be hours. Now, this is another application where you can actually set up multiple different streams at the same time, so quite easily to do your multi-streaming. But for this example, we're going to do Rumble Studio. We're going to grab our ingress key and URL. URL's there, key is there, and that is done. So once we hit back, you'll see that it's here. Now we're going to select our encoding settings. So 8K kilobits a second, hardware encoder. That's the one I was looking for. Hardware encoder. Once you are ready to go live, the Rumble Studio is clicked and it's blue, hit the go live, and Rumble Studio will now show the ingress. And again, that is it. You're ready to go live, hit the go live, do your stream, stop your data being sent in Meld, and then follow that up by wrapping up and calling it a day in Studios. Hopefully that's given you a little bit of a feel for how you can get your third-party software and your third-party video into Rumble Studios and then start earning those hours. If you've got any questions, please drop them into the comments. I'm going to be dropping this into Rumble and YouTube for people to have a look at. And if you like the content, make sure you hit like, share, follow, subscribe, and all that good stuff. And I'm going to see you on the next one. Thank you very much indeed. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.